warm welcome and a good evening to you. Thank you, Anand and team, for this opportunity. My name is Manoj P. I have my colleague Smith also there in the meeting. Smith.
Hi, good evening, guys, everyone.
Okay, so we'll proceed. Both of us will be stepping in for various topics, and then we'll take questions also together. I'll just go to the agenda now. So before we go to the agenda, the ERP portion or SAP portion, we'll have a couple of slides on the like academics to industry transition. So then we'll go to ERP. What is ERP? And within that, what is SAP? SAP, you know this. SAP is a company name as well as software name. You'll see why it is popular. The various career options in SAP itself and with Innoval also. We call ourselves IVL for short. So we'll go to the academics portion. I presume that we have a fair mix of people who are in the final years. Okay. So an engineering graduate, they have options to pursue higher studies, or like for example, research, or get into academics teaching, or get into some kind of jobs in industry. Industry could be IT related job. It could be in the private sector or public sector. It could be in the utility sector also, banks. Okay. So in addition, they also have options for doing freelancing, doing own business. So we are targeting at the industry jobs and the freelancing options available. So for those people, this session will be interesting. For those who want to pursue, say, for example, research and development in nuclear physics, or get into kind of PhD and kind of teaching job, this may be of interest, but not very important for their next immediate options. Still, even for academics, ERP is a very hot topic. So I'll just set this as an introduction. Now, moving forward, we have various options available. The hot topics, what people call as hot topics. Some of these topics you can see here. These topics are, in fact, there are colleges and universities they give BTech in some of these topics. RPA, there are major or honors. We can see these becoming independent brands by itself very soon. So we have so much of options available. Cloud computing, very hot topic. AI, especially RPA, IoT. So we have so much of topic available. Cybersecurity is another hot topic. Now, if you have this much options available, why would somebody join a career in ERP? So that's a topic why we want to cover this topic. In spite of ERP being a different, domain altogether, whatever we see here, these are relevant to ERP also, or vice versa. One reason probably why ERP is not that popular in the individual programmers or freelancers would be that when you do a programming, say for example, you're developing an application for something similar to say Flipkart or a Book My Show or a Make My Trip kind of thing, you can think yourself as the user. What you want in the software, you know very well. Nobody has to tell you. So you can develop a good software, you can test it yourself. But when it comes to ERP, it's more for the enterprise kind of customers. So for those customers, somebody has to tell you the requirement. So you cannot decide what is required. So when you do a software, you have to depend on others. For that reason, people have a belief that ERP is a readily available package. Package software. What will a programmer do in ERP kind of scenario? We want to come to the reality. These are the options available. So where does ERP fit in? Believe me, all these topics, ERP, especially SAP, by the way, we use the word SAP, not SAP. In case, even if you don't remember anything else, the first ground rule is don't say SAP, say SAP. Okay. So SAP is there from 1972 onwards. So those days, it was on mainframe, two-tier architecture. From there, we have come a large way and a long way into today's cloud computing and other areas. So the artificial intelligence, mobile apps, cloud computing, cybersecurity, everything is a blockchain, everything is applicable even in ERP. So that probably that is not known to everyone. So that's why we just want to tell this point. Hope you can see my screen. I'll go to the next topic. Anand, can you see my screen? Okay, I'll share once again.
No, sir, actually, please share.
So, hope you saw this slide. We have so much topic available. Cybersecurity is another hot topic. Now, if you have this much options available, why would somebody join a career in ERP? So that's a topic why we want to cover this topic. In spite of ERP being a different, domain altogether, whatever we see here, these are relevant to ERP also, or vice versa. One reason probably why ERP is not that popular in the individual programmers or freelancers would be that when you do a programming, say for example, you're developing an application for something similar to say Flipkart or a Book My Show or a Make My Trip kind of thing, you can think yourself as the user. What you want in the software, you know very well. Nobody has to tell you. So you can develop a good software, you can test it yourself. But when it comes to ERP, it's more for the enterprise kind of customers. So for those customers, somebody has to tell you the requirement. So you cannot decide what is required. So when you do a software, you have to depend on others. For that reason, people have a belief that ERP is a readily available package software. What will a programmer do in ERP kind of scenario? We want to come to the reality. These are the options available. So where does ERP fit in? Believe me, all these topics, ERP, especially SAP, by the way, we use the word SAP, not SAP. In case, even if you don't remember anything else, the first ground rule is don't say SAP, say SAP. Okay. So SAP is there from 1972 onwards. So those days, it was on mainframe, two-tier architecture. From there, we have come a large way and a long way into today's cloud computing and other areas. So the artificial intelligence, mobile apps, cloud computing, cybersecurity, everything is a blockchain, everything is applicable even in ERP. So that probably that is not known to everyone. So that's why we just want to tell this point. Hope you can see my screen. I'll go to the next topic. Anand, can you see my screen? Okay, I'll share once again.
No, sir, actually, please share.
So hope you saw this slide. This was about the various options available, and we told these are very much relevant to ERP also. We'll come to this at the end. Okay. We'll start with what is ERP. Now, ERP, before we come to what is ERP, let us see an example. Say you want to buy a car or a bike. So what do? You go to a showroom. Assuming you want to buy a new one, brand new one, not a used one. You go to a showroom, or you look for some applications where you can request for a test drive or whatever. Then finally you decide on the car or a bike. You tell the showroom guy that I want to buy this. So you finally agree on the model, the color, the brand, everything you decide. Then what does the salesperson do? The salesperson will check for stock availability. Is it readily available in the showroom or in the nearest godown or nearest plant? We'll check the inventory stock. So in this diagram, what we're telling is without ERP in place, what they do, they have to manually ask a phone call or an email. So what does the inventory guy do? He'll check for stock and give a reply it is not in stock or it is available. I can give in 3 days, 4 days, etc. Assuming it is not there in stock, what does it do? It is checked with the production team, the factory, the plant. How soon you can give this particular bike, a car? This is the make, this is the like color. So then that day, you can see these are all islands, independent islands, not connected. They may have email, etc., but they're not connected to a common system. So what they do, they take their own time in telling, okay, we'll check if raw material is there. To produce a car, you require raw material like steel, right? Leather, all those stuff, tire. So they check for raw material availability. The salesperson is waiting, customer is waiting. Next, the raw material is not there. What do? They tell their purchase team, look, I need to buy this raw material. So this takes time, right? Without an ERP in place, ERP is enterprise resource planning. So these are all enterprise activities, purchase, sales, accounting, production. So without a proper software, these are all manual activities done by people sitting in islands, not literally, but figuratively. So continuing on the same diagram, purchase team, what they do, they check for their suppliers to give them stainless steel sheet or maybe leather, tire, all the raw material required to produce. This means they have to give an order, give money to these vendors, and finance is involved. Finally, you'll get this into stock, the raw material. Then you do the production, the factory, shop floor people. And all this while the customer is waiting, and even the salesperson is waiting. The customer is not able to find out when they'll get the material. Somebody promised that they'll deliver the car, but they're not given a date. Salesperson, honestly, he doesn't know. He's not bluffing. He doesn't know. He has to depend on so many other people. So this being, like a confusing state of affairs, salesperson wondering what to do, when to get the material, whom to contact. Finance person wondering what is the price, what is the profit. Shop floor guy saying what I should produce today. I don't know what is to be produced. If I produce something without a customer in mind, then will go waste. But a customer will not wait forever, right? So the manufacturing resource planning, MRP, and the subsequent thing of ERP, that is very much required. Otherwise, this business model will not work out. Okay, so it's totally confusing state of affairs. Now, this is what we see in a manual software, system like this. Ultimately, even if in spite of all this confusion, if it is produced, finally it may not meet the requirement of the customer. Somewhere down the line, one guy missed one email. They might miss out either on the color or on the model, or finally they may deliver something not totally different. They may even deliver a truck. So these are like the things that can happen. If something can go wrong, it can go wrong, right? Murphy's law. So without a proper integrated software, these things can happen and ultimately results in business, the customer satisfaction, and companies can go out of business also because of these kind of errors. So if you look at the enterprise activities, you can see here the sales is there, left-hand side. They serve customers. The purchasing team, what they do, they procure raw material. The production team, the factory team, what they do, they manufacture. There will be a stores team for the inventory purpose. The finance team will take care of the accounting. Okay, there will be maintenance team. So you can see two words: accounts receivable. AR is accounts receivable and accounts payable. When you buy something, you have to pay your suppliers. When you sell something, you have to receive the money. So you have accounts receivable. So all these activities, if these are done in isolation, in silos, things will not fly. You have to have integrated system where data from one function to another function is available without somebody sending it. It's a common system. So that's ERP. And with this brief, some of you may be working in, say, as an example, today mostly are BTech people, but imagine that there's a mechanical engineer working in shop floor or a commerce person working in finance. They may know the engineering side of it. They may know the accounting side of it. But ultimately, they'll end up in a business enterprise where an ERP software is already being used. So if they go there and sit there as a fresher, they may not understand this concept of ERP or SAP. So they may require more training. They may require more hand-holding. So imagine you are in an interview, you're a mechanical engineer or a CA, you're in an interview, and the company who is interviewing you, they're having an ERP software. They would prefer somebody having an exposure or an idea on this. They'll be glad if you have undergone some training in these areas, not only programming and software, but even things like the functional side or the exposure. The minimum thing you require is an exposure. With today's session, we'll give you an exposure. We don't expect you to become expert in half an hour, but the idea that ERP is not something only for the software guys. It's required for anybody, even finance person or a mechanical engineer who's working in shop floor maintenance, production, etc. Ultimately, those companies, more than 80% of the large companies, they use SAP as the software. So that's why we want to include a larger audience in this session. Now we'll look at the functionalities. Accounting is basically finance and accounting, including the costing portion. Controlling also is there in this we call FICO, purchase or procurement. Inward supply, the word can vary, purchase, buying. Then there can be the shipping, which means the logistics, the supplies, distribution. You may have dealers. Then you have depending on the logistics, sales and purchase both. Especially in the sales, you have logistics challenge because you may have a dealer network, you may have stock yards, you may have godowns. How do we ensure that things go in time? So all these activities are integrated. Then comes the HR or human capital. Nowadays we call human capital, right? Or talent. So entire thing, including the IT portion, you require an integrated software, and that's ERP. The word is integration. And within ERP, you can see that numerous disparate or different systems. Now, if you do it individually over time, what happens? It doesn't become manageable. It becomes very time-consuming, costly also. Without an ERP, it ends up in duplication. Like there could be a vendor data in the purchase side as well as same thing maybe there in finance side also. May not tally. So I'll not go take much time on the difficulties. We'll go to the positive sides. So these we know without an ERP, nowadays nobody can survive in business for long time. When you go for an ERP, these are advantages. I think I don't have to read out each and every point, but in short, integration, which means it'll eliminate a lot of difficulties. You can focus on the positive things like quality, okay, the profit, the creative portion of it, customer satisfaction. So that's why ERP is very much popular. But ERP is very much popular in the industry, the business enterprises. But when it comes to fresh graduates, I'm not sure how much it is popular. That's why we have this session. Now coming to SAP, as I told, the word is SAP, and SAP stands for both the software as well as the company name. The company name originally was SAP AG, German company, began within 72. The SAP expands to something in German. It's not exactly English. You can call it as systems, applications and products, or systems analysis and products, but it's a German word. So the English, what you see here, is not the exact expansion of SAP. But nobody expands the word SAP. This is SAP only. So that's the most popular ERP software, not only in India, across the world. Okay. So it's an integrated system. You can see the right side, sales distribution. The word R3, you can see here, SAP R3. Initially, it was R2, two-tier architecture. Now it is three-tier architecture, R3. But these days, people don't say R3. They say the actual SAP versions like S4 HANA and all. We'll come to that maybe later on. But these activities are all integrated. That's the whole topic. So people say the words like SD, sales and distribution, MM. Initially, they used to say like this, but nowadays, people go with the process. Order to cash, procure to pay, accounts payable, accounts receivable. These are all jargons. Don't worry about that. But imagine as a fresher, as a software professional, when you get to work in an ERP world, you'll hear words like purchase order, sales order, accounts payable, inventory, right? General ledger, trial balance. So these are all business terminology. So if you want to get into this kind of things, this training would be very useful. Not only this webinar, but in future, get some exposure to these things, attend webinars, attend seminars. So that's why we want to tell this. This is very much important, the business knowledge. Otherwise, what happens is you'll end up as a programmer. A programmer, what they do exactly what is told to them. Somebody gives a specification. This is a programming, this is a specification, functional spec, coding spec, test results, expected results, everything is told. A programmer can develop wonderful software. Otherwise, they're doing software in an area where they're comfortable with, like a gaming software or a ticket booking software. They know the requirement very much and they know the technology. They can develop software without anybody telling them what to do. But in ERP, you require these kind of the concept also. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, almost 80%, it's a large number, of the Fortune 100 companies use SAP. And SAP represents the top brands. You think of any top brand, especially manufacturing side. Remember, SAP is ideal for the manufacturing side. Apart from manufacturing, there can be other segments also, like financial, banking. So where SAP may not be that much popular, but where manufacturing is there, not just about goods manufacturing, but even service industry also. SAP is very popular. You can think of the top brands in India. The names that come to your mind, you just keep the names in mind. I'll go and show some of the names in the next slide. These are not just SAP names, but they are also Innoval names. Like these are our customers. So 99% of this slide, what is here, is SAP based thing only. We have given some other customer name also for reference, like for example, like Asianet or Technopark. We have some software for them also. We have done software for Sabrimala, Darshan Booking, Technopark, Visitor Management, etc. also in addition to SAP. But otherwise, 99% here is SAP. Think of Tata Steel. They're using our software. They're using SAP, they're using our software also, Innoval software also. Coke, Aditya Birla Group, Reliance. Think of the top names. More than 80% of the names in the top companies, they use SAP. And within that, almost 90% they have our software, or they have come to us for some kind of application, Godrej, Asian Paints. Think of all the names, they are all our customers. So moving forward, I'll hand over to Sumit after this slide. So I'll just summarize what we discussed. SAP is a large ecosystem, a lot of top names. So in case you want to get into a company like, say, Godrej or Reliance or Tata, so there you may have multiple roles. One is a programmer, which means you're doing development which somebody has asked you to do. Second, you may have a role as a consultant who will advise multiple customers. They may not work in a manufacturing company, they may work in a consulting company. And they'll guide others how to do, like a SAP how SAP should be implemented, supported, etc. They'll be more like a consultant. I'll take a minute to explain what is a consultant. Before that, third role is an user role. It's not a software job at all. It's a user role. To start with, they may be a user, end user. They may progress to manager, head of the department, CFO, etc. But all the three should know SAP. A programmer, definitely, they should know the programming side of the SAP portion. Now, the question would be, if SAP is a readily available package, it handles sales and distribution, purchase, finance, payroll, everything is handled by SAP. Then what does a programmer do in such a company? So there are gaps in SAP for which we require software, programming, customization, either localization or customization. And there may be a lot of data that may be transformed from the existing software to SAP. You may require initially some support in converting to SAP, migrating to SAP, upgrades in SAP. So software job is very much applicable in SAP. That's why we are taking this session for you, technical role. Now, what is the difference between a technical person and a consultant? A technical person or a programmer, what they do? They do programming as per the requirement given to that person. A consultant, on the other hand, they will even tell others, look, they'll tell the users, no, they might ask for the moon. No, that's not the right way. This is the right way. This is the best practice. So consultant advises people how to do things. They'll tell what others should do. They'll what the manager should do in the other company. They'll also tell what they can do, consultant can do. So it's more like if you go to a doctor, you expect the doctor to be the expert in that area, right? So if doctor is asking what medicine I should give you, you may not like, right? So that way, a programmer at some stage will graduate to a consultant. Sometimes the technical side alone, sometimes the functional side also, techno-functional also. We'll cover that in the next slide. Then, as I mentioned earlier, If you don't know the software behind this, what happens is you'll expect another person to guide you. So that's why the sessions like webinar will help you in understanding the concept before you go into the programming side. I'll hand over to Sumit. Sumit?
Yeah, Manoj, thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, Sumit.
All right. As Manoj said, SAP itself is an ERP software, and the ERP software requires a lot of back-end integration. It involves a lot of processes like sales and distribution. As Manoj gave the example about buying a car, right? So as you saw the picture, the other, the slide that we saw, there were so many islands that were, depicted. That means these are all individual functionalities that has been developed, but at the same time, all these functionalities had to be integrated to each other so that, a single source of information is derived from that, right? And 2-3 slides before, we saw the customers that are dependent on SAP. What happens is, major customers who are industry leaders, they literally depend upon the correct functioning of SAP so that their entire supply chain or entire process is, done from A to Z without any problems. Okay, if let's say a single point in their particular, process gets stuck, the entire supply chain gets for a toss. For example, I don't know if you guys know, but there was a problem in the Suez Canal. That a ship had got stuck there, and what happened was the global supply chain for 10 days went for a toss. And these are the volume that we are talking about. For example, let's say a company like Reliance, a company like Coca-Cola or Hero. Hero is one of the world's largest exporter of motorbikes, right? So let's say if something happens, and we don't know where exactly the part is or where exactly the, the material is, the entire dependency on the SAP becomes a question mark. And that's why SAP is very robust. It has seen the toughest of scenarios. It has got a variety of customization and so forth. And how it is accomplished is it is basically through their technical language, which is ABAP, right? ABAP is a fourth generation language. As Manoj said, SAP itself was evolved or formed in 1972. So relatively, it's a newer language than Java and C++. C++ and Java mostly are used for, graphical and other aspects as well. At the same time, ABAP is used for mostly relational database management systems. In simple words, rows and columns. Because it's all about data processing, and for that, ABAP is basically using objects like tables, structures, rows, and so forth. Right. So let me give you a very simple, practical example. Uh, I hope everyone has had pizza, somewhere down the line. And when you order a pizza, you get a bill, right? A very lengthy bill. Your name would be there, the order would be there, terms and conditions would be there, you know. So in this particular scenario, what happens is that, these components are actually, dynamic in nature. Okay. And you will be surprised to know that all these things are designed in SAP. Okay. So when a customer orders something, for example, when you order a car, most probably 99% of that is designed within SAP, the entire invoice. So it's just not about, creating any reports. So it's a real-time example that you see. For example, if you are in a warehouse, for example, there are different e-commerce websites. So it is very important for the person who is managing that particular shop floor to know that everything is in order. So they basically do a my voice is breaking, is it? Let me just try it once more.
Just a little bit. I think we can hear you.
Is it better now?
We are able to hear you.
Let me remove the headphones.
Meanwhile, there is a question from others. Shall I answer that, Smith?
Yeah, you can.
The question is about the advantages of SAP we discussed. What are the disadvantages? Now, as a SAP person, I would say that the disadvantages are there in the sense like SAP used to be a kind of large implementation. The implementation of SAP, the cycle required. It's not like something you can download from the Google Play or maybe Play Store or something. It's a large business and application. The time required to like from the start discussion to go live to start using the cycle was very high. That's one of the biggest disadvantages. And that's because one solution done by a German company should run in multiple industry verticals like pharma, steel, automobile. So multiple industry should work, right? So one solution is working for all these industry verticals in all countries. So there are challenges. Localization challenges there. SAP has its own industry solutions also like IS, industry solution for retail, oil. Okay. So they have that. Yes, they have country-specific solutions also. But in spite of all that, the disadvantage is that people used to complain that the time required to become productive in SAP is quite high and it's a very costly software. Plus, getting consultants also is very costly. So it's a good thing to have for as a SAP professional that SAP is the SAP like career is true. But that was one thing. But then still SAP is capturing 80% of the market, right? So that's something very interesting. In spite of the delays and the cost, SAP is booming. But SAP is also coming out else they're going to cloud. So cloud will help in ensuring that it's quickly deployed. If you're doing custom development for each person, it will become a mess. Later on, they can't upgrade to next versions, right? So that's why SAP is also coming in the cloud versions to address those challenges. Hope I answered the question. Yes, Sumit.
Yeah, can you hear me better now?
Yes, very good.
All right. Sorry for that. So as I was just saying that ABAP is basically the backbone of SAP, where people are able to code very robust and flexible solutions, as well create meaningful practical examples. For example, like I told you about the pizza thing. Later, we'll also know that. No, sorry. So later, what happens is SAP realized that it is not just about rows and columns. Okay, Manu, you can go to the next slide. And that is where SAP or ERP is now integrated with the latest technologies in the market. SAP has moved much ahead with blockchain, AI, machine language related technologies, right? For example, everyone would know what is a Bitcoin right now, right? Bitcoin works on blockchain related technology. And we have Alexas and Siris and Google, where we talk to the speaker, they come back with the required answers. So for example, let's say you're traveling and you would want to know what is your electricity bill, right? There are real-time applications with SAP where you can just say, okay, Alexa, what is my bill for the last month? You'd be surprised to know that you will get a very detailed answer that your bill is this much, and this is how much you have consumed, and so forth, right? So there are exciting things, which SAP has now planned along with ABAP, and these are all integrated now. For example, you would have seen applications like Zomato, Swiggy. So when you approach the customer care, the customer care is not a human person, at the first point of contact. The first person you would actually interact is with a robot or a bot, right? So these bots are also now integrated with SAP. And as a technical person, you will be able to design these wonderful chatbots and using algorithms, and also integrate with other languages as well. Python is now readily integratable with SAP as a software, right? And we have also seen that it is uh, a generation of cloud technologies, right? Microsoft has Azure, you know, Google is there, Alibaba is there, Amazon is there. SAP itself is now having their own platform, which is called as business technology platform. And this is where the future is going towards, right? It's not just a boring data entry job. When people associate with ERP, they think that I just have to punch in some records like student database and things like that. But it is much more than that. A use case in IoT, a lot of freight containers, they also carry a lot of cold storage items. So it is very crucial that that your the items within that particular container are at the optimal temperature. So SAP is also giving you opportunities to integrate IoT devices along with its platform. And for example, let's say when you are transporting some fisheries items, or for example, medicines, let's say a temperature drop in the container will alert the required people in the company itself. And then it triggers a list of ERP process that will help maintain avert any disasters, right? So these are the things that SAP and ERP are going from a traditional data entry job, right? uh, Manoj, we can go for the next slide. Now we have covered various topics in this agenda, like what is SAP, what is ERP, uh, and within SAP, what is ABAP, right? So now after this, what are your opportunities, right? So within IVL, and this might be common across the other companies in the industry as well. There are internship programs, okay, especially for third and fourth year students, who can basically have 2 to 6 months kind of internship programs, work in this real time scenario that I'm speaking about, right? Apart from this, we would have training on various SAP modules. As Manoj said, SAP itself is a collection of different processes, right? You have SAP sales and distribution, SAP finance, SAP ABAP, and because, like, for example, you are in different streams in your colleges, your area of expertise would be different compared, amongst you guys, right? For example, some would be in mechanical engineering, some would be in civil engineering, some would be in even BCom students, right? Some would be in computer science. So within SAP itself, you have different domains that you can specialize in, right? So you can become a SAP functional person, for example, if you're not someone from a coding background. But if you are from a coding background like computer science or IT, you can very well opt for an SAP ABAP training program, right? And which leads to full-time employment within IVL, uh, after attending these internship and training programs. IVL also has a unique, proposition where people like you guys can create wonderful SAP related products. For example, there's something called as e-invoice in the industry, right? So e-invoice is required by every business organization to be implemented. So for example, let's say you buy something on Amazon, right? When you get an invoice, you'll actually see a QR code printed for you, right? So these things are actually created within ERP systems, right? And this is also a product. So there are product opportunities, there are full-time employment opportunities, and there are internship programs on this.
Yes.
Manoj,
I'll add to this, like computer programmer, we get fresh graduates. We train them not only in the SAP and ABAP side, but we give them exposure to real challenges in terms of developing new software, addressing the gaps in SAP products, as well as giving exposure to interact with the various stakeholders in the customer side. So it's equivalent to, you're working in programming in one large company, what happens? You work in one area of the application, maybe a program, maybe a development, with testing, maybe support. But here in Innoval, you get to work with multiple clients. Today, you may work with, say, a manufacturing company in pharma sector. After 3 months, you may work in another customer who is doing maybe automobile industry kind of thing. So you get exposure not only in the industry side, but you'll actually start speaking to customers. Your personality changes totally. I've seen people who are freshers who had mother tongue influence, like speaking in, the in accent and the confidence level. And within 1 year, they graduated to levels where they could talk to CFOs of the companies and say that, look, you must change your process, you must do these kind of things, only then it will work. I'm talking about 1 year, not even 2 year completion. People talk to customers because they know the software, they know the product, they advise another company how to implement the software. To implement the software, we require these things to be done by you. So that kind of confidence people get. Exposure to multiple customers, the senior people, they don't talk to the end users or the functional person, they talk to actual business users and the leads in the industry, CFOs, CIOs kind of people. So that exposure is tremendous. Yeah, I'll go forward, Smith.
Yeah.
There's a question, is SAP not flexible? So my answer is SAP has gaps because there are country specific gaps, or like India GST came, invoice came. So those gaps are there. So it's not a plug and play software. SAP requires time to implement. I won't say it's a flexibility issue. It's a challenge in the industry. And that's where we come in. Innoval comes in. We have our own products which will address those gaps. This slide talks about our next learning hub and opportunities. Yes, Smith?
Yes. Just to add to that question that was asked, what are the disadvantages of SAP? The only disadvantage, which is basically a headache, is SAP is very expensive for a company to implement, right? So that's why if you see the companies who implement SAP are usually the largest companies in the world, right? Because of the simple fact that SAP has everything in it. It has so much of integration and robustness that usually the advantage will only be taken when every module is being implemented, and it usually becomes very expensive. But once it is implemented, you will see the actual, the usage and the advantages that we spoke about in the earlier slides. So that's the only, kind of major disadvantage. And that's why, you can see that 98, the top 98 brands within out of 100 are SAP associates, and that is straight away from their website, from SAP itself. So they are also proud of it, and that's why SAP itself is required to evolve. And that's why when you see that slide about blockchain and business technology platform, this is where the future is also going, and it is not just a data entry job anymore, right? And yeah, so this is basically a slide where it shows how you can also start your career in SAP with us, along with Trinity, where you can, for example, this is for the technical, the coding background people who can start with SAP, or that matter if you have a passion in coding as well. But as Manoj said, SAP is, or an ERP is a software which is actually open for all streams, whether be it CAs, whether be it, manufacturing people, civil engineering people, because it involves the entire process to be streamlined together. Yeah.
Yeah, so, to add to that, no, Smith, I just want to highlight that we are in the industry since 26 years. We came to India much before SAP came to India. SAP was initially in the Europe side. So we had our operations in India way back in 90s. So at that time, SAP was not there. So we have seen the world, how India, especially India side, how they adapt to SAP. We have operations across not only India, but also other areas, also geography, also Europe, also US, also. So we have offices in these 4 places. I want to take a moment there to show our website. Sumit, that's the last slide, right? So I'll just show the website.
Sure.
So we have sap.com, we have ivbsp.com. We'll just take a moment to show that. So in SAP, we are our name or as a partner, we are listed. We have products certified in SAP, add-on solutions in SAP. So you can go through the sap.com website. recommend that you go through this when you get time. Similarly, ivldcp.com also is something like you can at some stage you can just have a look on various solutions that we offer. Today is a short session for us to explain everything. So probably you can see this maybe later. You can take questions, Sumit.
Yeah, I was just trying to, answer one of the questions. The question was, so all Fortune companies have implemented it. Does that mean we'll only work on maintenance? And startups won't think of SAP in the first time as it's expensive. The second part, Adarsh, yes, it is expensive. So startups, at the initial point of it, because they themselves do not know how they're going to scale up their entire process supply chain. But at the same time, Adarsh, the maintenance part is partly wrong, because you will be having variety of requirements within the framework of SAP and outside. As I told you, SAP is now very much accessible to other third-party softwares, and you can create a lot of new exciting functionalities using these new technologies like blockchain, AI, ML. And then as and when the technology also matures or gets into a evolved, SAP itself gets evolved. SAP is there since 1972. So what we had maybe 20 years before was something else. But at the same time, these companies were also part of the SAP that time as well. But they're still the customer of SAP because SAP also has evolved and given them better opportunities in terms of how to streamline their departments, how to make their processes a bit better than what it was before.
Yeah, to add to that, Sumit, we get requirements from SAP as well as other consulting companies. We require programmers in hundreds and thousands, and we spare people for our kind of work. So development is there, not the support. Development is very much there. I'll say one of the reasons for this is that the users are also changing. The users who were initially there, they were like the old generation people. They were used to doing clerical activities manually. So if you give them a software to type data instead of using a paper and pen, they'll be happy. Today's users, they're used to using applications for booking tickets, IRCTC or Book My Show or Make My Trip, whatever. So they expect that not just glorified typewriting. They also expect software to be adaptable to. You don't want to print papers. Can you send data through integrated emails? Can you integrate with other external systems? Instead of sending a printout to bank, can I have an API for connecting with the bank directly? How do we handle security? So all these are driven partly by the user group also. They won't accept a solution where somebody has to do manual steps. They'll say, I want something better. So where we have an advantage in Noval, we know SAP, we know the ABAP side, we know the business side because we are there for 26 years. We can quickly address the problem. So what is engineering? Engineering is, in simple terms, is problem solving. Go to the basics, understand the root cause, fix it for the purpose like that. So those problems are very much there. Yesterday's problem was digitalization. Today's problem is how do we automate and how do we integrate. Tomorrow, like you can look at bank. Originally, people used to go to the bank and wait for the token for the money. Then ATM came. Then what happened? You could do through the credit card and like Google Pay kind of applications. Now bot is there. So that way, SAP is also evolving. So don't mistake us because I have worked in public sector earlier before joining. So we have seen a lot of developments. Even today, as we speak, we have a lot of new developments to be done for our customers. There are gaps in even in SAP, right? So where we require automation. So we require people like you.
So there's a famous saying as well, just about everything goes through an SAP system. So if you want to develop anything in the business world, sooner or later you will touch SAP at some level. Like Manoj said, maybe at the end user level as a person, maybe as a developer, or maybe as a consultant. You will definitely be, being, we will be associated with SAP because your target would be to work with one of the best companies in the world. And like I told, almost all the companies in the world who are industry leaders are associated with SAP as a ERP software. Having said that, ERP software is also a must for every MNC, right? That is anyways a given. So if not SAP, then Oracle. So that's how it is the way of working in a large demographic oriented companies.
And within SAP, you have requirements for programming side, where itself ABAP is there. Other stacks also are there, which we didn't mention today. The administration, the basis or the what we call as DBA in database. Here what we call basis, SAP basis. You require integration experts, PIPO. So there are analytics experts are there. So apart from ABAP, there are a lot of other areas in SAP of interest to kind of in a person who is looking at problem solving using smart technology. So not just ABAP, a lot of other things are there. And in the functional side, we have the option to do either business analysis or functional consulting, where you configure SAP for people, you implement SAP for others. Of course, support also is there very much. That's an important part of the whole thing. Support, upgrade. A lot of opportunities are there in ABAP. Today's session, we thought of focusing on the getting the idea clear that SAP is not just for programmers, it's also applicable for people who want to do core areas. Any further questions?
I think there was a question regarding the course details. The course details as you know, as the webinar is in association with Trinity. So we'll ask Trinity. We will ask you guys to connect with Trinity as well, so that you get the correct course that is associated with you guys, and and then they will be able to guide you on this.
One of the questions we had got from a participant was, what is the career path as I gain more experience? Is it only for beginners? If I want to spend a lifetime in this industry, how would it look like?
Just to give a real life example, Manoj is in this industry for more than 25 years, right? So that itself will give you a kind of a short answer that SAP sometimes is also an equivalent of doing an MBA, because of the simple fact that you evolve from a developer, you evolve from the smaller work that you get to become a full-fledged consultant of a multinational company as well. For example, the industries leaders like Reliance or Hero or Amul, all these people require experts in ERP. As I told you, these are mission critical processes. Because of that, your career start from a very basic, maybe a coding oriented person who is able to just develop functionalities whatever has been told to them. From that, you evolve as a techno functional person where you will be able to understand the business requirement of the customer. The customer will never tell you that, okay, you go to this table, you pick this data, and so forth. The customer will give you requirement in a business language that I want to make sure that the car is getting sold better. The operations are getting optimized, right? So then you will be able to design those solutions from your knowledge of the industry, how you will be able to leverage the power of ERP and SAP as a software, at the same time your domain knowledge, right? So you become a techno functional going forward, and that's how you kind of advance your career. And SAP, it's like as we saw that it has an ecosystem. You can become a technical architect if you have a passion in coding, and if you don't want to become a manager and so forth, you can become a solution architect, right? So where you can create these applications, you can design how they integrate with other systems. At the same time, you can become a functional architect where you can create those business processes for the companies. It's not that only people who have specific degrees can only design, but then if you have the relevant experience in ERP, as you go on, you'll be able to design beautiful ERP process. And that's what we also do in our company. We have people who have 25 years of experience. So when a customer comes to us that this problem or this is something that is happening to us, we don't say that, okay, we'll give you this ABCD. We also talk in their language. We try to understand that, see, this is what you have to do. this is how you will be able to take advantage of this. And so we'll develop something like this. So that's how you progress as a, you progress your career in SAP. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thanks.
The underlying, more message should be that SAP is not just a technical oriented career path, right? It involves people from almost every stream in, which is there, right from finance, BCom to BTech. You have mechanical, the core branches, and then obviously the IT sector.
To add to that, Sumit, we have seen in large organizations, people get specialized into developers, testers, like kind of a small area for a large support project. In Innoval, so we are, the right size kind of companies. We have the experience as well as, the niche product. We are into the product business. Many other companies in the SAP, they are doing consulting business only, which means you tell me the requirement, I'll do it for you. But what we do is we have products which are readily done based on the past experience. There we have opportunities for people like you, for quickly become, like technical leads. So we have seen cases where people become leads in 2-3 years, and salary hike also that much a jump in a small short time. And plus, people who want to be in the managerial side, they get quick exposure to PMs and become project managers. It depends on the aptitude, of course, performance and aptitude both. But we have opportunities available because we have large projects which are, like large number of projects, but which are short duration in nature. We require multiple people to work in parallel. So we have the opportunity to grow both technically, technology wise, as well as in the process side or in the managerial side, domain side.
Can you talk a little bit about opportunities abroad, with learning SAP?
Yeah. So as you can see in the chat, there are, you can see more than 450,000 SAP customers, and what happens is, because of this huge demand of SAP as a software, there's a huge shortage of well-trained and skilled people in SAP itself. Forget about ERP. Within SAP itself, there's a huge, demand of people in different sectors. And SAP is also having specialized ERP packages for different industries. For example, oil and gas, then manufacturing, So what happens is each country, for example, the Gulf countries, right? The Gulf countries are huge, producers of oil, right? So naturally, if you go there, there's a huge vacancies for oil and gas industry, and where SAP is the number one ERP provider again there, right? And talk about within India as well and within abroad. So as it's the story is same, you will be having both as a technical consultant opportunities, but the beauty is that SAP is standardized as a software. For example, whatever you learn, let's say in India from someone, let's say you're learning ABAP from us, that same ABAP is going to help you whether you go to Australia or US or anywhere. For example, there are so many things that are there in other languages. For example, Java. You have to be very, very specialist in that Java technology, in that generation of Java. Now, and then you will get that specific kind of a role going forward. But in SAP ABAP, there might be different areas within ABAP, but the standard is same. Whatever you learn in SAP ABAP, or let's say in other modules like SAP Sales and Distribution, the screen or the processes remain the same. You will get the same transaction code to run a application in US, which is similar to what you run in Australia. So because of that, when you graduate, let's say from a college, you understand what is ERP, and then you kind of take a decision that, okay, I am passionate about coding. So when you take a coding, related course like SAP ABAP, so what happens is you are then ready to be applying for any particular opening across the globe. It's not just for India specific. This ABAP is going to help you. The same ABAP is going to, and that's why we have clients abroad as well. It's just not India. So we are basically servicing people from Australia to US. So that's how the opportunity arises when you learn something which is a globally recognized software and which is a market leader. Uh, that's how the opportunities go.
Thank you.
Adesh was asking how much will an average SAP consultant earn? Well, that depends upon which company or which area you are, but I can guarantee in saying that you will earn, or you will at least start even bigger than your counterpart in Java. And as and when you progress, like I told you about different career paths, it's basically an equivalent of graduating from MBA, and that's how your career salary also increases like that.
Are there any more questions, anyone?
Okay, so there's a question how it may affect when company moves to another ERP like Microsoft. Nandu, that's a good question. But like I told, once you are associated with SAP, let's say for example, you are a market leader, you know, the processes are so complex. And when you are using SAP as software, you tend to invest a lot of your manpower and thinking in creating those processes around SAP, or help your business get optimized solution using SAP, right? So over a period of maybe 10 years, 15 years, you get so much of accustomed to SAP that it's very, very hard, and it's basically practically unheard that a company is moving out of SAP. That's the kind of association that happens with SAP. Simply the fact that SAP itself is evolving. So it's a very kind of uh, rare thing that someone would be moving out of an ERP software, because you're already it's kind of ingrained in your DNA. That's how your company is working. That is how your the processes are happening in your day-to-day operations. Opportunity for mechanical engineering background graduate. So mechanical engineering, can take a a course in non-technical side of SAP. For example, you can take in production planning, right, or materials management. As Manoj was telling in the first slide, there are different areas of operation in an MNC, or in, let's say, in a manufacturing company, right? You have production planning, you have shop floor management. At the same time, these things are because of this digitalization era, all these things are getting integrated to each other. So there is a need for people, even though you have your core values or your core education in mechanical engineering, people are very much required to be part of this SAP ecosystem from the functional people, right? So when you create those materials, so you need people who are specialized in that domain, right? So that's how SAP is not just limited to technical people, but they are very much related to non-technical side of it. When I say non-technical, non-coding background, like mechanical, finance, and other branches.
And there are exceptions where people have come from the core branches and moved to the programming side also, the technical side also. That opportunity also was there. That depends on the attitude and flair.
Yeah. The average salary depends upon a demography, sorry, region to region, and in what company you are. But compared to anyone, it, like I told, it is the jump that get. You are basically above par compared to a, let's say, a Java person of equal experience or equal exposure. And going forward, like I told, when you basically start specializing in different areas of SAP, let's say, for example, you go to become a techno-functional, your salary naturally increases because your roles and responsibilities towards your organization also increases. Okay. Definitely a Java person or someone would be a bit more on the application, designing or creation. But as an SAP consultant, that's the terminology we use. SAP consultants are basically the people who kind of guide the organizations also where they work.